My name is Chiappeta, and I live in Gilroy, California. This is my wife, Thelma. We've been married almost 50 years now. I served 37 years in the Air Force, and I served in Europe and in the Pacific. I served with some of the notoriety of people. My flight leader was General Paul W. Tibbets. He was our flight commander. He's the one that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. I served in the Pacific under General Kennedy, and we were bombing the Japanese at that time all the way back to the Philippines. I was shot down in the Philippines, spent 8 months in the jungle, rescued, and came back to the States. I got in on a Hornet for debriefing of what was going on in the Philippines, and I was shipped back stateside after that. My rank was Chief Master Sergeant, and I was a flight engineer gunner.
Did you, sounds like you saw a lot of action.
Well, we were the first ones in Europe, the first squadron. There was nobody else. I served in England at Grafton Underwood, and then we were moved to North Africa, and I served there with Paul Tibbets too. And then we served in North Africa and Italy when we were preparing for the invasion of Normandy. And then I was shipped to the Pacific because the war was winding down there and they needed us in the Pacific. So that's when I served under General Kennedy. I started off from Hawaii, was born and raised. I was there when Pearl Harbor was bombed. I went that unfaithful day to my uncle's house, which he lived right across from Pearl Harbor. It was just like a big movie screen. We were that close. He was in the Navy, and he took off after the bombing started, and I didn't see him till after the war.
Did you find that you were in harm's way all the time?
Well, all the time. A lot of our boys were shot down. I was one of the lucky ones to survive. And everybody was always in harm's way. There were a lot of people, a lot of comrades of mine taken prisoners when their plane was shot down. Some perished. And I've seen one of the bombers next to us just literally exploded. No survivors.
Did you find that serving was something that you thought it was your duty to do, or were you drafted?
No, we all volunteered. There was a lot of volunteers. When the war started, they were calling for volunteers, and we all volunteered. I was young at the time. I was about 16. They wouldn't take me. And then when I got a little older, I went and joined. And I was shipped here to San Francisco, where I went up to the Boeing aircraft factory in Seattle and did some schooling for flight engineering and training. And then I was shipped off to Pascal Isle, Maine, on my way to Alaska. And from there, went over the seas to England Well, it was in Scotland that we landed first, then over to England.
What did your parents think about you joining the Air Force?
Well, my mother didn't want me to go in the Air Force, and my dad was a military man, so he understood. I have no idea till this day how he talked my mother into letting me go, but she was definitely against it. And I felt that all my friends was going to different parts, lots of them in the Army, Marine, Air Force, and Coast Guard. They all joined different services, but I went in the Air Force.
Why did you choose the Air Force over any other of the branches of service?
Pardon?
Why did you choose the Air Force
Well, I had a cousin that owned an airplane before the war, and I used to work on it with him, refurbish that airplane. It was a little Stinson, and I flew with him together. And he went in the Marine Corps. He was a Marine aviator, and he shot down several planes. And he went to the Pacific. I went to Europe.
You said your dad was a military man. What branch of service did he serve in?
He was in the coastal artillery. They no longer have any coastal artillery, but he served in the coastal artillery. He's buried at the Memorial Cemetery in Hawaii, in Punch Bowl, where all the veterans is, where one of the famous correspondents is buried there too.
Did you have, back then, I know that the USO was very active in...
Oh yeah, I saw Bob Hope and Francis Langford and all the rest of them.
Where did you meet your lovely wife?
Well, we met in, she was in Corps. She was training to be a nurse to serve. But before she could serve, the war ended.
Okay.
She still continued her nursing training. She just retired here from nurses. From Kaiser, she worked there and opened up the clinic in Gilroy that we have now for Kaiser.
Were you married when you were serving them in the Air Force?
No. I felt that if I went in the service and had a wife or had children and I got killed, there would be a detrimental experience for them.
What do you think about the war that we're having now?
Well, I feel that we're sacrificing a lot of young men, and it seems that they have unfair advantage. It seems like their hands are tied because they directed from the administration rather than let the Army and Air Force and all the branch of service let the generals, admirals, and men serve and do what they need to do.
What do you feel about women serving in the military today?
Well, it's all right. I believe that if they can do the job, more power to them. We gladly welcome that because they are grateful help. I've had women under me and they served well and they did the job just as good, some even better than the men.
Did you see, because of where you served, I'm sure you saw a lot of your buddies that didn't come home?
Yes, a lot of them didn't come home. I've seen them come home in a coffin, but never when they were shot down. There were a lot of prisoners of war. When I came back and we lived in Morgan Hill, I had a body that I didn't see for a long time that we rescued come and stay with us for about a week. Then I saw a guerrilla fighter that I joined when I was shot down. He came to Morgan Hill with his wife too. He was only 14 at the time he served.
Just a child.
Yes, but he had a rifle bigger than he was.
That sounds like the military. Have you found that coming home that our government treated you correctly, or were you treated badly? I know some of the wars, the military were not treated correctly.
The veterans were treated like the veterans of what they were. I think the Korean War was the worst of it because in the Vietnam War, our military was hogtied from the administration. Like I said, they interfere too much. They put their nose in where they don't deserve to put it. And they tie our commanders up so he can't do the job that we were required to do.
Did you receive any medals while you were serving in the military?
Oh, lots of medals. When I retired, the general wanted to give me another medal. I said, General, give me the money, keep the medal.
Do you find that there's the right kind of help for the veterans that are coming home now?
No, I think they should do more. They should see to the needs that they really want and need. A lot of our veterans were young men, are young men, and there's a lot of mental disturbance. They should be treated as such. I think they are, but they don't have the required help that they needed. I think our military is underpaid to begin with. And our new administration says that we're getting too much pay. I don't think so. Why don't they take the pay away from the senators and congressmen? We are the boss. They are the workers. And they can't get it through their head that they work for the people. And most of them are millionaires by staying in Congress and in the Senate. And they should be treated like the civilians are. And we should have health care like they do. If we had health care like they do, and there's money we spend for the senators and congressmen, I think every civilian in our country would be covered.
Do you find that because of the way our government is, do you feel that when the veterans come home and there's jobs, they should be have first choice of the jobs that are out there?
Yes. When I came home, I had a job because we had preference for our service. But it seemed like we fighting them all the time. I belong to the retired council, and I go every first Thursday of the month to Fort Ord. We have Army, Navy, Marine, Air Corps, and Coast Guard that we represent. And we usually a watchdog for our military. And any bills that we feel is detrimental to the servicemen, we fight it, and sometimes we get it overturned. I served 2 terms of past commander in the Veterans of Foreign War.
I know that when veterans are coming home, not only do they not have jobs to come home to, it's harder for them to get back into life.
Yes, I think they should have a program where they can phase them out of the military when they're coming home into civilian life. Probably get schools and indoctrinate them, because everything is sort of foreign when they come back home, and things are different when they left.
Well, I know that I see standing on the street corners men and women that say they're veterans. Why isn't there help for our veterans? Do you have any ideas what our government can do to help our veterans?
Well, we in the Veterans of Foreign War used to go out looking for these veterans. We had a job fair where we contact the local in the communities and see what kind of jobs that they require. And we match the veterans up with new employees for these jobs.
I know that in today's society, our young people, war is glorified as something to participate in by using games, video games, and what have you. Do you think that the video games that kids play today are anything like what the real war is?
No, definitely not. They think it's a glorious thing to play this game, and they sort of feel it's real. The real things are different. You sometime in a foreign soil, in an island, way out in the Pacific. You go through, you do this, you even miss Christmases, and when they're having Christmas back home, and it's a morale factor.
Did you find that because you served so long that it was harder to get back into civilian life?
No. During serving, you served at the end, it was peacetime, and you get to come home and you sort of can blend in, but it was hard to leave the service. And but you have to, and give the room for the young men that coming up and going into the service. And I encourage a lot of the new recruits to come and talk to me and see what they need to do to prepare themselves. I feel that every young man should at least put 2 years or 4 years as they required in the military. It really helps them. You give them a boy and you get them out a man.
You served not just 4 years, you made your military a career, actually, life.
Yes, I was a career military personnel.
Why did you choose as a career instead of getting out after 4 years?
Well, it had a lot of opportunities because we were training and everything was advancing, and you could adapt that for military service. And you had the GI Bill that you serve, and you're eligible for the GI Bill, and you can participate in a college continuance or any other vacation you want.
Would you recommend young people today to join the military the way that we are serving in Iraq?
Well, it's pretty hard. I hate to see these young men come home in body bags because a lot of times they don't deserve that. They should be well trained before they go. They should be prepared in a high school or college to prepare what's out there so they have a chance to come back home.
I know that years ago there was a program called ROTC.
That's usually training for officers candidate school and everything.
I know they used, when I was growing up, they had that in the high school, and young men, back then it was just young men, it wasn't open to young ladies. But it seemed to prepare them a little bit for active service.
Yeah. When the women first got in, they did work that like clerks and things, and they took the role of the man's jobs, and that freed them for combat services.
Did you find that coming home and not having some of your friends because they didn't make it in the service because they were killed, did you find that emotionally had a hard time for you?
Oh, yes. You get emotionally drained because you, as childhood, and you grow up with a next door neighbor's kid and grow up into manhood, and now you will never see them again.
Does, I know the veterans have special activities they put on once a year. Do you participate in any of the military programs that help the veterans?
Well, I think USO is one of the biggest. They sort of boost up the morale of these service people that are away from home, no families, and they make them feel right at home.
Do you find that in today's society that our young people do not know enough about what you experienced because it's just not taught in our schools today?
Well, yeah, they don't have any history, so they can prepare themselves. If they know the history, they could much be better serving in the capacity. After the war, there were a lot of servicemen coming home, and they went in different towns. There was a town in New Jersey where they had a big banner across the street. Dogs and GIs not welcome. And it was a terrible thing to see.
Why would GIs and dogs not be welcome?
Well, they had it was strange to see something like that. What was the reason? I don't know whether they were against servicemen or the military in general.
Okay.
Our command in general put that town off limits, and the mayor came and begged the commander to let the servicemen come into town because the town was going broke.
Do you find that our local towns honor the veterans like they should?
No, I don't think so.
Do you find that most veterans that are here in our local area, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, San Jose, they're just almost forgotten?
Yes. The only time they expose is some of the parades we have in towns.
I know that a couple months ago there's a organization called the Spirit of 45, which honors the veterans. Have you ever attended that?
I don't know about them.
Do you find that the programs that are out there for the veterans do not know about it because it's just easier for the government to sweep your time under the rug? per se?
Yes, they do. And we had to sign a contract with the government when we first went into service. If you participated in a service, any branch of service, if you put in more than 20 years of service, you get your benefits and your medical for life. And with the Congress changing over all the time, they took that away one time, and this is why I'm in the retirement council, because we represent all the branches, retired and active duty. There's a lot of servicemen in the service now that were in civilian life, from every walks of life. And in a service, they don't get the same pay as they had in their job while they were civilians. And we try to establish a system where we can augment the servicemen to the standard of living, because they have families at home. And now they were, as a figure, say they're making $100 a month. Well, when they go into service, they might make $50 a month, as an example. We try to implement a system where we can make up the difference, but the government are not helping out. This is local from the service people here, like Fort Ord, or the Naval Postgraduate State System there in Monterey, where everybody donate and we sort of make up the difference. I think the government should make up the difference for the people they get coming into the service. After all, this is a volunteer. It's not a required service.
Do you find that those that are serving now, their families are not really taken care of like they should be?
When you get your GIs on food stamps, that's a disgrace.
So you feel that we as a nation should be doing more for our veterans as well as our retired veterans?
Well, I think we as a nation should speak up on behalf of this military service so that it can be taken care of, and their families too.
Do you feel that we should be taking care of our military because they gave their life, literally in some cases, we should still continue to take care of their families?
Well, they are taken care under the survivor's benefit. But now the administration trying to take away that. This is where our watchdog system with the retirement council step in. We write letters to the congressmen and our senators that they should look at the bills that they're trying to pass, that if it's hurting the military and their families. After all, we are protecting them. What if the military don't show up when we have an invasion of a foreign nation? Who would fight them?
I know we had, everybody talks about 9/11 and how our country was invaded. Do you feel that because of the way the military is now, we might go through that again?
I don't think the military is to blame. I would say everything is implemented is going through the civilian, like your senators and your congressmen. It's administration that is not making progress. We have the finest fighting force in the world. And if we don't take care of it, right now they're cutting back on our military. They are not giving them the required equipment to do the job.
Do you find that those that attacked our nation in 9/11 should be given anything other than a very hard conviction?
Well, it depends what they did. Now, if we were in a foreign country and we did that to them, the only thing they can give us is death.
Do you feel that we should give those that attacked our country death? Or do you feel like we should put them behind bars and take care of them for the rest of their lives?
No, that's not the answer. We should keep them away from our shores to begin with. But we have a lot of regulations that's blocking us from doing our job that we need to do.
Do you find that because we do not protect our borders like we should, those that are coming over from our foreign borders are getting more benefits than those that are born here in the United States?
Well,
or Americans?
There's a lot of them here that came in and didn't file for citizenship. Some of them don't want to be citizenship, but they want to be treated the same as the citizens. I feel it's unfair to the ones that put in the application, and some of them waited for years before coming over here, and now there's other people figure they can just walk over the border and they'll be all right. How about the ones that waited so long to get here? I don't think it's fair to them.
Do you find, I know we hear in the news where those were born over here, or they were children when they came to the United States, they're given a special, almost a free pass to stay as long as they're students.
Well, I think the ones that were born over here, they didn't ask to come into this world. Their parents did bring them into this world, and they should go and be punished for what their parents did.
I know that you hear a lot about the colleges and the students that can't get in, but you're seeing a lot of foreign students that are able to take those spaces. Do you think our colleges should first allow our United States citizens first choice of our classes and at our colleges?
Well, I think if they meet the entrance requirement, they should get in. But the foreign students, I think our citizens should have the first preference if they pass the requirement of the colleges.
Do you find that, I know in Santa Clara County, the social service centers are full of those that don't speak English, don't understand English, don't write English, but they seem to be getting the benefits. Do you feel like that if you're going to live here in the United States, that you should have to learn English?
Well, yes. If we go to a foreign country, they ain't gonna speak English because we are in the country. You have to learn the language.
Have you found that those that do not speak English are given somewhat preferential treatments here in our county?
I don't know about that, but they might.
Have you found that those that, like they talk about the migrant workers here in Santa Clara County, and those are undocumented workers, Do you feel that we should, because this is our country and they are not serving in our military because they are not of America, that we should ship them back to where they came from? Or do you feel that they actually serve a purpose?
Well, there's a lot of them that not citizens. They came to this country, and a lot of them came into the military. I think they deserve, if they were accepted in the military and put their life on the line to fight for this country, I think they should have the same privileges all the other servicemen that serve the country. A lot of them got in the service because they saw a country that they have sense of belonging. And there were several of them Medal of Honor winners.
Do you find that today our young people are very lazy, and not all young people, but there are a lot of young people that are lazy compared to when you were growing up?
Yeah, I find that they are complacent, most of them. And there's some of them that want to go in the military. Like you say, they think it's fun.
So you're finding that most of our young people have no idea what actually you experienced because of our schools not teaching and not having our veterans to come in and speak to our young people.
Yes, I went to Cupertino High School there, and I brought along a serviceman from the Army, from the Navy. I was in the Air Force and the Marines. We had and the Coast Guard. We had all the service representatives there, and we spoke of our various duties and why all these services were required, because each one had a different assignment. As an Air Force person, I wouldn't be able to go on a ship and work as a sailor. And yet they have the Marines and the Navy on the ships. But we have Air Force Navy, we have Air Force Marines, but they have a different assignment that the regular Air Force don't have.
Did you have, you spoke of your father being a military man, did you have any other family members that served our country?
Yes, I told you about my cousin that I used to work with him on the airplane, and he went in the Marines. He was a Marine navigator. I was stationed in Foggia, Italy, and we had a squadron there, and there was a squadron across the field. There was a cousin of mine that was in the military. He was a navigator for the Air Force, and I didn't know he was there in the same facilities. We didn't know that each other was there until after the war. Another one went in the Army. He got killed.
Do you feel that we should have the draft again? Or should it be volunteer for our young people to volunteer to join their armed forces?
Well, I think the draft only come in dire cases. Where right now we downsizing our forces. We might have to need a draft if something really comes up and we require to have a force defending us. Right now we spread all over the continent. We have forces in Germany, we have forces in Japan, we have forces, they pulled it out of the Philippines, but they have forces in different areas of the world. They experienced much more than I did. Like the the baton march and everything.
Did you find that our government back in World War II really supported the military better than what our government does now?
Not only the government, but the people. They were unified. We haven't been unified ever since.
I know that they talk about war bonds back in World War II. Did your family did they buy war bonds?
Oh yeah, everybody was patriotic and bought war bonds. Right now, they had slogans like lose sleeps, sink ships. Right now we can't keep a secret. I was sworn to keep a secret at a high military clearance. And yes, the newspapers knew things that I wasn't supposed to talk about, and they're talking about it.
Sounds like the military had one rule and the government had a different set of rules to play by.
Well, it was double standard.
Double standards, exactly. Do you find that is the way it is now?
Yeah, it hurts us more than it helps us.
Because there's so many double standards and depends on who you are and what you believe in?
Well, wouldn't you like that they didn't know about it when you were coming to fight with them, that they be waiting for you when the secret was revealed to the enemy?
So our government is not doing as well as they could do.
Yes.
If you had a suggestion for our government, what would it be in helping?
Keep your mouth shut.
And you find that it's not that way now.
One thing I don't like really is when you have a new congressman or new senators, they have no idea, some of them, that didn't serve in the military, what it's all about, and they want to change the rules that we had for generations and generations throughout our history. We survived through all the wars that we've been in. They can improve it, but not do drastic change on it.
You were talking about
Gays in the military, I know some of them served, and they did a pretty good job. But we wrote on this, don't ask, don't tell, and it was passed. Now, the Obama administration reversed that. I had a very good friend that was in the Army during the Vietnam War. He was a sergeant. He was a master sergeant. And he had his platoon. And the Vietnamese was invading the perimeter where they were, had their king camping. And they had two gays that were on the front line. And one of them got hit. And the other one, instead of calling the medic, he went and assisted his friend there. And he deserted his post, really, and the enemy came in through where he just vacated his post and killed half of the platoon. Now, if that man was there, that wouldn't have happened. And this is why they should keep their mouth shut, because we had them in the service, like I said, during World War II, and they kept their mouth shut, and they served well that way.
You find that having that reversed, where now it's open, that it can actually harm our servicemen?
Well, yeah, because they're getting preferential treatment, because it's sort of discrimination. It might be, but it do more harm to the rest of the people because you neglected your duty when you should have done, and you got killed. Well, they got killed, those two gay men, plus half of the platoon got wiped out. You know how many men is that?
That's a lot of men. Do you find that those that are serving in the senators and congressmen, that they need to have a little taste of what military is really like before they implement some of the new laws and new regulations?
Well, I think they should be like a summer camp for going to a military unit and serve with them and see what those men go through and how they implement their military service. Then they get an idea what the military is all about.
You feel that because there's not a lot for our young people, and they, in the summertime, a lot of them get in trouble because of lack of direction. Do you feel that we should have some kind of summer camp for our young people that they can attend, that it would even teach them what it's like to serve in the military before they think about going into actual service?
Well, they have the reserves. They can get in that because it's already set up. Instead of getting a military camp and spending a lot of money in there, because you're going to have to take regular military personnel to train them. But if they go into the reserve, which is already set up, they can get the training that they need.
I know that some of our military, they join because of the money that they can obtain and the benefits. I've heard of some veterans that they go in, they serve 4 years, but it's not actually serving on the front line. They're serving in a classroom or in other locations. Do you feel that they should have to serve actually some time to be able to get all the benefits that are given to the veterans?
Well, in the reserve, they get once a month where they have to spend 30 days in the military, and they go through regular exercise, and all the rules and regulations apply to them.
This is Emma Harris, and I hope that you've enjoyed our time with Chip and his wife, and I hope that you've learned something about our veterans serving our country.